We haven't really been doing it. I've been busy.
What about tomorrow? Okay.
If you want.
Section 2.7, distances and midpoints. I would go if you haven't.
I'll tell my dad that.
Okay, so we've been learning about how we have this x, y, but is it possible that we might have another dimension? This is a two-dimensional graph. A three-dimensional graph would look something like this. Okay? Imagine that as being like front and back. Okay? Front and back. It's how you create cubes and spheres and this is the world we live in. Well, we live in 4 dimensions because there's time, but the physical world is 3 dimensions, right? So, we've learned before, we're not getting too much into this today, but we are going to learn how to find the distance of a 3-dimensional object. Alright? So, normally, let me get another color here. If I was to say what's the distance between this point and this point, and that was at -3, what's the distance there? The distance +3, because distance is always going to be positive, right? But then if I was to say, what is the distance between this point, and that point, and that's at 4, going of, exactly, I'm just going to add them together. So my distance formula is what? Who remembers it? Distance formula.
D equals
Square root. X2 minus, well, it doesn't matter. No order. Plus y2 minus y1. Okay. Guess what else I'm going to do? I'm going to add z2 minus z1. Okay. That's all the difference right here. Right here, this guy. We're just adding a third point, and we're going to add it to our distance, okay? Yeah, we're adding right there, yep. And you subtract them from each other. Let me move it up, sorry. There you go. Okay, so we have the distance formula is the square root. Oh, and these are all squared. Sorry, it's very important. You have to square all these. Okay? What it does is by taking the square root and then squaring it, it always makes it positive, okay? So, well, lucky for you, you can use your calculator. There's a little button. Looks like this. Looks like this. It looks like the shape of the square root thing. Looks like this. Square root. She was saying she doesn't have a square root. Looks like that. If you have a fancy enough one, graphing calculator, which you're actually not supposed to have. Yeah. Yeah, there's a square here too, yeah. Because you could just plug in a lot of these functions and then it'll give you the graph. So if I give you on the test, graph this function, you could literally plug the function into your calculator and it'll give you the graph.
How do you do that?
Come to pre-cal actually, I'll teach you.
Really?
Just because some of us have siblings who have a graphing calculator doesn't mean. Okay.
I don't see the
Page 95 at the very top.
95?
95. Very top of the page. No? See the very top in the tan? Okay. The same thing goes for the midpoint, okay? Note card. At some point, write this down on a note card as a distance formula for 3 dimensions, okay?
That's for 3 dimension and the other one is for normal.
Yeah, when you do it without that, like this, that's normal 2 dimension. And then when you add a 3rd dimension, you just add this, okay? Same thing for midpoint. Yeah, Ned?
Is it plus Z2 by Z1 or minus?
Yeah, it's Z2 minus Z1.
No, the
squared.
Plus or minus?
Right here?
Yeah.
Plus. Because with distance, you will add them all together, but when we're going to find the difference, okay, what's up?
Is the distance formula in our book? We can't do that.
Yes, it's at the top of page 95. I'll try to write this next one bigger, okay? So midpoint, who remembers midpoint?
I do.
What is it?
X1 plus X2 divided by 2. X1 Y
Comma,
Y1
y2,
plus Y2 divided by 2. Z1 Z2 divided by 2.
yes, so that's how I get my xy. So my third point is just going to be the same thing, z squared plus z1,
Why did you use square?
or z2, sorry, not squared. Okay, this is my new addition. So write these on a note card so you have them as a reference, okay? This is a really good thing to have memorized. If you don't have this memorized for the test, you're going to have a hard time.
Are we going to use them in tests?
No, you can use it to study for your test. That's why I'm making them. Okay. Since you guys really don't like the flashcards, I'll just start printing out worksheets. Thank you. I tell you the only options. I either give you classwork or I give you note cards. If I don't, then I have a teacher's meeting. Then they say, Mr. Rafferty, you need to give classwork. The kids' grades can't just depend on homework. And I say, okay. All right. So we have our midpoint. All right.
So how do we find the coordinates?
Like for number 1?
Yeah.
Because it gives you all those little red dots, it helps you to be able to know how far something is, okay? X, Y, Z. Just like you normally do. It doesn't really matter because you're going to list them as X, Y, Z. So watch, I'll show you guys. It's hard for me to draw. So we're going to look at number 2 together. So I'm going to read it out loud. Alright? So number 2, you see how there's all those little red lines that they have written in between the dots? What? It doesn't matter. X goes first when you list them out. Okay? Oh, sorry, this is low. I didn't realize that. Okay? So when I write ordered pair, it's usually X, Y. When I add a Z, it goes right there. Okay? X, Y, Z. So that's why you should do X, Y, Z, Carly. Okay? So we're just going to list out. Alright? So this would be an ordered group or an ordered trio or an ordered few. So we're going to try to find the points for all 3 of these things, okay? Let's start with D. Alright? Is point D 3-dimensional or 2-dimensional? By looking at it. Let me, I'm going to go back to my picture up here, so maybe it could be helpful, okay? D is right... Where's my green? I'll use red. D is right, what is it? D is like right here, okay? And it only has lines here and here, which means it's only 2-dimensional. So it doesn't have a 3rd dimension of little dots. So I know it doesn't have a Z. Or Z equals what? 0. So this point would be -4. Does it have a Y?
Yeah.
What is it? 1. And then 0. Okay, that would be my point.
It's always Z, Y, X.
Y, X, Y, Z.
X, Z.
X, Y, Z. Okay.
A.
That would be the coordinate for D, for number 2. Okay. Then let's look at E. It is the 3rd one, Z, because it doesn't go back at all. This point doesn't go in and out. It only goes left and right. Because look, it's only drawn here and here. If there was one at an angle, because see my Z-axis is here. If there was dots, I'll show you. Just you'll get it in a second. Okay. Now I have this point back here, E, and I have lines going here and here. So I only have Y values and Z values, right? So what is my X value going to be? See, look. All the dotted lines match up with one of the axes, Y, Z, or X. Right here, it's a flat line, so that's my X, because X goes left and right. This one's up and down, because my Y value goes up and down. This is at an angle, because my Z-axis goes at an angle. So I know I only have Z and Y. I don't have an X. So X equals 0. So this would be point 0, when you're talking about z, this is negative back here, and this is z positive. Okay, negative z is back here, z positive is in the front. So I'm going back 4, so that's negative 4. Sorry, y1, right? Z negative 4. So it should be 0, 1, negative 4.
Wait, negative 4 again?
Wait, hold on.
It's supposed to be 3, 4. You're on number 2? Yeah.
Oh, are you kidding me? They did x right there? That's so backwards.
Yeah, I'm talking.
That's so wrong.
Okay, we'll just do this.
That's not how it's... Oh gosh, I've never seen a graph like that before. I know, but you're not supposed to change it. You're supposed to just add z. You're not supposed to change y and x. That's so dumb. Skip number 1 for your homework. I don't like the book. All right. The way they graph is so wrong. Oh my gosh.
Let me look at my other number 3 when we graph.
Skip number 1. But anyway, this is how it should be done. Yes.
So for number 3, when we graph the coordinates, you want it x, y, and z.
Yes, like this. This is how it's... I'll double check. I could be like tripping out right now, but I've never seen a third dimension added here and then you change all the other ones. That doesn't make any sense. You should just add this one. No, just that one. Everything else won't matter because you, it doesn't, yeah. Let me double check how it tells you to answer them. Does it tell you to graph them? I don't think it does. It just...
No.
No, it doesn't.
Plot each set of points using a single set of axes for each exercise.
That's number 3. Number 3.
Yeah, I'm talking about 3. Yeah, number 3 does say plot.
Where's my 3?
1, 2, je l'avance en avant, c'est plus en fait.
Oh yeah, okay, so skip 1 and 3.
Skip 1
Yeah,
and 3?
they don't do 1 and 3.
Comme de par hasard. Oh, that's like
Okay. Hey you guys, I want to say something really quick though, okay?
Yeah.
This is still right, and I'll tell you why. Because I labeled them y, z, and x, okay? Because the book labels them z, x, and y, okay? Then they're not wrong because they labeled them that way, but that's just a really dumb way to do it. Okay? But it's however you label it, right? Just like if I label this as 10, then that's point 10 because I labeled it that way, okay? 1 and 3. Don't do 1 and 3.
1 and 3.
What? Yes.
Because
Because I went back 4 on z. Okay, this is negative z back here, this is positive z up here. Right? So it's negative 4. I went 1, 2, 3, 4 back here. Okay? But I didn't get to my 3-dimensional object.
That's okay, he's stupid.
Well, you don't get this?
Like, I don't get with the Z, like...
It's a different, so right, x, y is just flat, right? Z is forward and back. It's the third dimension that brings everything to life. Like when you watch 3D, it brings it out.
So, like, what does it mean when you say Z is, like, on top is the negative and the Z on the bottom is the positive?
Meaning this direction, like see how x is positive this way and negative this way? Z goes positive this way and negative this way.
Oh, so you'll be like...
Yeah. You just have to label it. So I label this as negative Z, positive Z. Now, I guess you could rotate around and do Z positive over here, but that's traditionally not how I was told. Yes? Okay, I'm going to explain how to do 5 through 12 now. I haven't even gotten that far. You're asking me questions about things I haven't even taught you yet. Okay? Alright, well, you tell that to the next person that asks the question. Say, excuse me, don't interrupt Mr. Afferty. You're making him go slow. Okay? Alright. I have to answer the questions as we go. Okay, number 5, it's saying, hey, it's going back to what you already know, right? Find the distance between the 2 points. So I'll do a quick example for you, right? We have the distance of this point, 3, 7, and we have negative 1, 5. Alright, and I'm going to find the distance of those, so I'm going to take it doesn't really matter because you're adding, so it could go x on the left or y. So x2 minus x1, so I'll take negative 1 minus 3 squared plus 5 minus 7 squared. So negative 1 minus 3 is negative 4 squared plus 5 minus 7 is going to give me negative 2 squared. Right? That'll give me 16 plus 4, or 20. So the square root of 20. Can I reduce this?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I can reduce it to 10 and 2 and 5 and 2. Oh, I got a pair of 2's. So then I could do 2 square root of 5. Let me see if that's the right answer for 6. Of course it's on the wrong. Okay? So that's my distance. Okay? That's right. You guys remember how to do this? Reduce a... You find all the factors of the number inside there, and any pairs, you take one out. You take the pair of 2's, you take one out. It can 2 become 1. You marry them together. Okay? Then I have to find the midpoint.
What happened if I find 17?
What do you mean, is your answer 17? You did something wrong. Fault with A.
But I need number 5. Like what happened if answer is a number?
Then you just leave it like that. But you did it wrong because that was the wrong.
No, because like the in parentheses it says like 3 minus 6, and then that's negative 3, and then
But it's squared.
It was not.
Okay, so hold on. I'm not going to take time out of lecture to help you with doing your homework when we're trying to learn. Okay. If you want to look ahead, that's your option. That's your prerogative. Okay. Midpoint. Okay. Y2 minus Y1, so that's going to give me 5 minus 7 over negative 1 minus 3. It's going to give me negative 4. Sorry, negative 2 over negative 4. Or m equals 1/2. So that's my slope. Sorry. What's my midpoint? M, you can see that's confusing, right? That would be my slope. Okay? If you guys know how to get your slope. Let me slide this up. Midpoint is x2, so that's going to be negative 1 plus 3 over 2, comma, 7 and 5. What's negative 1 plus 3? 2. 2 over 2. 1. 7 plus 5. 12 divided by 2 is 6. So my midpoint would be 1/6. 3 minutes till class is over? Fantastic. Okay. What do I have you guys doing? Numbers. Are you doing all of them? But what number do I have you going up to?
If Mr. Referee,
31. Oh, I see. It's okay, you guys can do it.
Mr. Referee, if you just square the numbers and then come out each number, do you just leave it for the answer?
Yeah, if you can't reduce it anymore. Okay, guys, we're going to pause. Oh, I hate this. Only have 3 minutes. Okay, I'm going to tell you guys this. I'm going to pause this. All right. Go up to number 17 for homework.
I still got a question.
All right, I'll answer your question in a second.